Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in, coming back, and all that stuff. Happy New Year! Thanks for showing up. As I said in my one of my previous videos, I really appreciate all the support in 2018. I hope that 2019 going forward, whichever direction forward is, that direction, whatever, I hope it's a great year for me here as well. And so I'm going to keep trying to create stuff that's helpful. So in that spirit, I also posted a video a couple days ago or whatever, a vlog from me being downtown in Austin one evening, and I had a prime lens. And I went out and took a bunch of street photography kind of stuff, some graffiti, street scenes, all that. And some was daytime, some was nighttime, so good light, low light, all that. And then I started editing them in Luminar 3, and I kept realizing that I kept using the same filters again and again and again. And so I got into a rhythm where I was literally just kind of like speed editing these cityscapes or these street photography captures in Luminar 3. And so I thought I would share those filters with you in case you take some similar subject matter. So let's go ahead and jump into that and just get going. So here we are. I'm in my Luminar 3 library, and I'm in all photos. So I'm going to go to this folder here, which is Downtown Miscellaneous, December 2018, 50mm prime. Don't forget the word prime. So yeah, I was out shooting with my prime, and anyway, I took, according to this, 233 photos. And here's something I found kind of interesting about myself. I didn't fire any brackets. I always fire like almost always. If I'm doing long exposures, I don't. Or if I'm doing certain other things, now and then I don't. So, less than 10% of the time, probably more like 5% of the time, I won't fire brackets. I intentionally, when I was out shooting this time, I just said I'm not gonna take any brackets at all. I'm purely going to do single exposure. So it's a good exercise for me, because I think sometimes I fire all three brackets and I think, well, if that one's not good, then the darker one will be fine and I can lift the exposure or whatever. So I was just trying to get it right in camera each time, on the first time. So anyway, that's the thing. So the 5 filters I'm primarily talking about are all right here, and I'm just going to jump into this photo. So the 5 filters are really raw, develop, structure, tone, vignette, and then saturation and vibrance. So if you just go to add filter, they all sit right here in this essential category. I didn't use any AI filters. There's only one photo that I converted to black and white, even though, I'm shooting street photographs, which traditionally are kind of black and white, but I like color, what can I say? In fact, some of these probably would look good in black and white. Maybe I'll come back and do some of that, but primarily it was the raw develop filter. Sometimes I use saturation and vibrance. I pretty much always use structure and tone and vignette. And let me just show you how I did that. And there's one other thing I should mention, that is I cropped generously. So let me go into here and let me show you. This was shot, I shoot this Sony full frame, so that's a 3:2 aspect ratio. I cropped this to 16:9, which I'm doing quite a bit. I really like the look, and it's really, for me, eliminating some of the non-essential ingredients. And also for me, when I'm shooting cityscapes, I often find there are a lot of non-essential ingredients. The core thing that I want is, the focus of my photograph, but there's often a lot of extra real estate, and so I'm cropping that out more and more. So here's my basic file with a little bit of raw develop love. So there's the before and the after. You can see I warmed it up a little bit, and that was really about it. I went into structure. I bumped that up a fair amount, 51. I went to tone. I gave it a little bit of a smart tone, and then vignette, right? Just to kind of key in kind of on the center of the photograph. And in fact, even though the gentleman, I left him in the far right side of the frame on purpose. I shot it as soon as he came around that corner. I was looking at this wall with all this junk and where it says Superman, and I thought it was kind of interesting with that guy walking. He's not very Superman-like, I guess. Sadly, we have a fairly substantial homeless population in Austin. So some of these people were walking around, and they just sort of happened into my photographs. But I left him in that far side of the frame because I wanted to give him plenty of room to look like he's walking into the frame, because in fact he was. But I also like that if there's movement like that in a frame, to give people room to roam, if you will. But I left the vignette around the edges instead of, how you can do place center. I could have placed the center of the vignette on him so that the rest was darker, but I kind of liked it this way, where he's a little bit in the darkness, and it's like he's coming out of the darkness into the light, and maybe he's headed toward being a Superman. I don't know, I'm kind of reading into it, maybe getting a little esoteric or poetic here, but that's how I edited this one. Let me show you a couple of more. Okay, here's another one. I did a generous crop, and in this case I did a free crop. It's pretty close to a square, but not quite. but I wanted to crop out the extraneous stuff on that right-hand side. And on the left-hand side, this girl was not posing for me. I've never seen her in my life. It was her boyfriend or husband or whatever. He was taking shots of her, and so I just stood there and took her photo, because that's kind of what you do in street photography, is you just act like you know what you're doing, and people just let you take their photo. So raw develop, a little bit there, not very much, just mostly contrast and bumping up the shadows. A little bit of structure to give it some grit. I mean, this is a graffiti wall, you know, for crying out loud, and a vignette. So just a simple, you know, focus on the center, and then an inner light, 66, so pretty significant there. I really wanted to punch up those center tones, and was able to go from, you know, that, which was kind of blue overall and not very bright, to that, I think, a much more impact. Let me show you one more. Okay, this one, low light, blue hour, shot at f1.8, and I just like all the soft twinkly lights in the background. I knew they were going to blur out really well. I focused on the back of this lady's head. Her and her husband, I guess, were at the street corner waiting to cross, and I was behind them. As you can see, I cropped here. This was a 5:4 aspect ratio, as you can see up here. Not an aspect ratio I really ever used, but it kind of worked for me. I wanted a little bit of to, you know, accentuate the light, kind of the space between them, and kind of make that on that right line in the 2/3 grid. And then I wanted a lot of empty space on the left to incorporate all those lights in the street cars and stuff. Not street cars, the cars in the street. And this right-hand side here was really dark, and I was like, I just don't need it. Let's get rid of that. So I cropped it to that. There's the raw develop filter. There's before and after. You can see I did a little bit of temperature and tint work, a little bit of contrast and clarity. Here I used tone to brighten it up quite a bit, which is purely smart tone. Pretty much the greatest slider in the history of mankind or something. Saturation vibrance. Here's an example of where I use sat vibe, if you will, saturation and vibrance. And I bumped them both up a substantial amount, because to me it's a colorful scene. And whenever you get all these blurry lights, I love to bring up colors in like background blurry stuff. I just think it looks cool. And then a vignette just to kind of, again, focus in. And if you notice, look at the vignette, look at the colors in the center of the frame, especially over there where the street is, kind of to the left of that lady's head. And look at it now. The vignette really make the colors pop, darkening the edges and then brightening that center with the inner light really makes the colors pop. So there's the before and there's the after. And so those are 4 here, plus the structure filter, which I didn't use on this photo. But those 5, raw develop, whoops, what did I do? Oh, I just moved. I forgot. So when you're in the library and you move your fingers like that, the 2-finger swipe on the Mac, it'll move you to another photo. So I meant to do that over here. Raw develop, structure, which is not in this photo, tone, saturation, vibrance, and vignette. Those 5 are just like the, I'm going to say the Holy Trinity, but the Holy quintuplet, whatever, the Holy Five, whatever. 5 great filters for editing and speed editing in particular, your cityscapes. Because what happened for me is I came back and I had 233 photos, and I was going through all these things, and I was like, God, man, I got a lot of photos. I need to kind of motor through this. I was trying to get a lot of them ready to put in that vlog video that I did. And so I was just kind of clicking away. And like I said, I sort of accidentally discovered that I kept using the 5, you know, among those 5 filters. Those were the ones that I chose from every time, plus the crop. And so that's how I did it. I hope it helps. That's just a few tips and tricks. And good shooting out there, my friends. Hope you're having a good time wherever you are. Go out and get some photos. Drop them in Luminar. And you know, you'll see me again soon. I'm going to create some more videos, and I'll be back soon. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, Happy New Year. Have a great one. Talk to you soon, and adios.